Is it worth all the time and money invested to V8 swap your BMW? Yes, absolutely. This has been one of the best choices I've made as far as swapping a vehicle. Probably not financially smart, but that's not why we do it. So this LS1 feels right at home in this E82. It's funny because you actually usually are swapping in a newer engine into an older car, but in this case it's an older engine. The engine is older than the vehicle, but it just feels so right, this little tiny car. I mean, it's not like super lightweight. Everybody assumes that these 1 Series are like super lightweight, but the car weighs like 3,200 pounds. It's not like incredibly lightweight or anything, but even just the stock LS1 with a cam, it feels very, very right. There's a lot of torque. It effortlessly pushes the car around, especially because this car came with the 373 gear ratio from the factory. It just feels good with the 6-speed manual. With an automatic transmission, I can't imagine it would be as fun unless you had a power adder to say if you're going to go with a 4L80E or 6L80E that you should probably put a turbo on it or something. Otherwise, it'd just be kind of lame. But T56 combo with even just an LS1 with a cam, this car's a blast to drive. Haven't really had any problems with it. I've put about 1,000 miles on it so far since I've completed it about a month ago. I've just been daily driving it every day to work and back, and driving it on the weekends. So we've got really beautiful weather here in Pennsylvania right now, so just racking up the miles, but I do plan on driving it all the way through wintertime. I did have my first failure on the vehicle, which funny enough was actually not anything related to the swap. It was just a expansion tank that was leaking. So one of the only parts that was still a BMW part has failed. Go figure. Swapped in a new expansion tank. Everything's good to go. Cooling system's been awesome in the vehicle. Haven't really had a chance to use the air conditioning. Kind of sucks because finished it up, but like I said, we've been having really good weather, so it's like 70 degrees all the time right now. So haven't really had a chance to use the AC. Probably won't until next spring. But the heat works well. Radio works. Everything in the interior works. I've got no dash lights. Everything's really good shape with this car. So really happy with how it came out. And I really definitely would recommend performing this swap. What I love most about this whole swap is just the chassis. I am so used to driving F-bodies. I'm a big F-body guy. I have a 99 Trans Am that's fully built with turbos and automatic trans and the built trans and all this other stuff. But driving it even through windy back roads like this, it doesn't feel reliable or stable, whereas the BMW chassis just feels correct and the way that it's supposed to. And what's funny is that it's not even that much newer of a car, so this being in 2009, it's not like it's like a new car or anything, but the car just feels like how it's supposed to. It just feels right, it feels stable, and this only has stock suspension with 200,000 miles on it. Okay, but that sound though, it just sounds so good. All right, the sound might be the first favorite, but this is the chassis is definitely the second favorite. But whereas an F-body gets its fun from almost feeling unsafe to drive, it's just a different feeling when you have a car that the power level feels safe in. And even though this isn't making a ton of power, maybe high upper 300 area, it feels totally proper in the vehicle, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm not worried about wrapping it around a pole. Because in my Trans Am, you have to be 100% throttle for it to even be fun, and by that time you're already doing 120 miles an hour on a back road, just getting to the end of, second, third gear, it's just too much. Whereas in this, at least if you can row through second and third gear, it sounds awesome, it feels good, and you're not going a million miles an hour to where it's totally unsafe. So that's kind of what separates this car from putting money into an old junk piece of Chevy or Trans Am or Camaro, which are great cars, don't get me wrong, I still love them, I think they look awesome, and they're just kind of sentimental to me at this point, but it's gonna be pretty hard to beat this car, especially once this one gets chassis and suspension upgrades, like coilovers, sway bars. It's gonna get a whole set of F80 M3 brakes. Possibly an E90 M3 differential at some point. I already have one. I would just need axles to put it in, but probably just gonna wait until this differential blows up. But back to the original question at hand is, yeah, 100% I would swap this car again. It makes me want to do even another one with an LS3. An LS3 with a cam, I think, would be the absolute perfect power level for this car. 500 NA horsepower would be awesome, perfect. E90 and E82s have what's kind of agreed upon is one of the best hydromechanical power steering setups in any vehicle. The power steering is perfect in this car. It's just heavy enough where it feels proper, and it's not overly heavy, but you can feel just the right amount of the road through it. It just gives all the right amount of feedback through it. I really wasn't sure what to expect out of the exhaust, since they're just mid-length headers, straight piped all the way back to a Burke 135i muffler. But it's honestly perfect. It's just a little on the too loud side, which I think I'd prefer than on the too little side. So I'm super happy with how the exhaust tone is. It does drone quite a little bit at about 1600 to 1800 RPM, but just kind of something you have to put up with. Man, she pulls pretty good in third gear though. For being a cam only LS1, I'll give it to her. Another thing that's really nice is that it drives extremely tame when you don't want to be flooring it all over the place. Just cruising around town, it sounds like it doesn't really sound like a normal car, but it drives like a normal car. So there's really not too much like excitement to it. You can drive it to and from work whenever you want. It doesn't grab a whole lot of attention because it's just a 1 Series. But at the same time, I've had multiple people roll their windows down in traffic and say, yo, what's in that thing? Because it definitely sounds like it has something, which is cool. So if you're watching this video trying to determine whether or not you really should sink all this money into a 1 Series or a 3 Series LS swapping it, just take this video as a sign to absolutely do it. As long as it's not going to financially ruin you, just go ahead and do it. Start ordering the parts one at a time. What difference is it going to make? You know what I mean? Just go for it. It's been an awesome ride. I'm glad you guys have paid attention and liked some of the videos. There's going to be more to come.